All right, I think I'll get going. My name is Stephanie Doyle. I'm one of the school counselors at Casco Bay High School on behalf of Portland and Deering. We'd like to welcome you this evening for joining us. All right, so once again, welcome. I'm Stephanie Doyle. I'm one of the school counselors at Casco Bay High School, and we are here on behalf of Portland and Deering and Casco Bay. I'm really glad you're taking a little time this evening to join us. This evening we'll be looking at big picture, understanding the American college application process. All right. Great. So what we will cover this evening is getting to know your school counselors, the different types of colleges, how to get there, what to do in grades 9 through 12, critical pieces of the college application process, entrance exams and test preparation, 4 really good websites to know, and financial aid. So after high school, we refer to that time as post-secondary. And post-secondary can mean many things. It can mean Portland adult education, vocational training, community college, 4-year college and university, bachelor's degrees, which are 4-year, and graduate school. So in 9th and 10th grade, we recommend students take challenging courses you can succeed in. Show up and do your best. 2- and 4-year colleges expect similar levels of preparation if you do not want to have to take high school level courses in college. There's Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and Senior Math. English, Social Studies, and Science every year. Level 2 completed of a world language or earn the seal of biliteracy. And you can begin your college search, meet with your school counselor and other trusted adults. All right. So other recommendations that we have are to get involved with sports, clubs and activities at school and in the community, volunteer, work, and really important that colleges understand when students have family responsibilities after school. And those students can still participate in activities during the school day. In their activities, students should look for leadership opportunities. So junior year is really when things begin to happen. You take you want to get strong grades in challenging courses. There's a test called the PSAT in October and the SAT in April. You will meet with your school counselor before you leave for summer vacation. And we really welcome parents and guardians to come to these meetings. College research and visits, and staying involved in extracurricular activities. So before senior year, we recommend students sign up for honors, AP, and early college classes. The early college classes are classes that you can take for free at colleges in Maine, like Southern Maine Community College or the University of Southern Maine. We also encourage you to write a draft of your college essay, volunteer, work, get involved, and lead. And talk with adults about their careers. We also want students to think about getting letters of recommendations from 2 teachers. And lastly, they can begin the application called the Common App, which is how they will apply to colleges. All right, get caught up here. So when you are choosing a college, there are many things to think about, and it can be a bit overwhelming. So some things that we like to discuss with students are location, where you would like to attend school, what state, what type of school you're looking for, the size of a school, what are the majors, what can you study there, the cost, the diversity, the atmosphere, learning support services, your academic record, and test scores. And we put colleges in 3 different categories, and we call a safety school a school that you feel like you can get into no problem. And a good bet is you feel pretty confident that you can get in there. And then a stretch is a school that would be difficult for you to get into. And we will help students understand that.
Stephanie, just let me take 1 minute to add our Vietnamese interpreter into the system.
Sounds good. No problem. And is it still me, Johanna? Yes. Yes.
I think I'm jumping in at this point.
Oh, Lori. Okay, great. I just wanted to say one quick thing. We would love for students and families to meet with us. I know that was mentioned, but I just want to stress that we love when families come in, because we understand that this is a new process for many people, and we appreciate when we can speak with parents and help them feel confident in their students' plans for life after high school. So please feel free to reach out to us. Our doors are always open, and I'm going to turn it over to Lori at Portland High School. Thank you, Lori.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, I'm Lori Medeiros. I'm one of the counselors at Portland High.
Lori.
So what we're looking at here are the parts of a complete application to a 2-year and a 4-year college. For a 2-year college, the application is on the college's website. It's short, usually 2 to 3 pages long. It doesn't require an essay or letters of recommendation, but it will require a fee. Students can ask their school counselor for a fee waiver if needed. Most 2-year colleges will want you to take the AccuPlacer test, or you can submit your SAT scores via the College Board website. For a 4-year college, you need to complete the application, which is online at the Common App website, or on the college's own website. Most colleges will require SAT or ACT scores sent directly to the college from the student's College Board or ACT account. Some colleges, though, do not require test scores as part of admission. Most four-year colleges require students to write an essay. 2 teacher recommendations and a counselor recommendation are needed. And when submitting the application, students and families will need to pay the application fee or have secured a fee waiver. To receive financial aid, students need to complete the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, and possibly another financial aid form called the CSS profile. We'll talk more about financial aid and that process later in the presentation. So as students are searching for colleges, there are many resources available to help decide which colleges are right for them. We like the Supermatch College Search in Naviance, which is a school, career, and college system all Portland Public High School students have access to. We also recommend using Niche, which is a website which grades colleges on different factors and includes student reviews of the college. Big Future is the College Board's search engine and allows searching by a large number of factors.
Okay.
Students and families should utilize net price calculators on each college's website because costs are another important factor in decision making. Visiting colleges and career fairs are another great way to learn about colleges. And generally, visiting colleges is very important and will also be covered later in the presentation. Turn our attention to entrance exams and test preparation now. Students take the practice SAT, called the PSAT, in grades 10 and 11 at school in the fall. PSAT scores are returned in December. Students can find out which questions they answered correctly and which they missed. Using Khan Academy, students can link their PSAT results and get free customized practice lessons for the SAT. Students can also take a free in-person test prep class called Let's Get Ready if they are eligible. In April of their junior year, students can sit for a real SAT test during the school day. Schools register students and pay for this April test. These scores are real scores and are reportable to the colleges you apply to. Students who are applying to four-year colleges can consider taking the SAT a second time in the fall of their senior year in order to improve their scores. Students wishing to take the SAT a second time will need to register for the SAT on the College Board website. They can see their school counselor if they need a fee waiver. Many colleges are now test optional for admissions. Students applying to these colleges do not need to provide SAT scores in order to be admitted or to receive merit scholarships. Another admissions test option is the ACT, the American College Test, and we'll talk some about the differences between these two tests. Advanced placement, or AP courses, are college-level courses offered at our high schools, usually in junior or senior year. At the end of an AP course, students take a test to show their competence in the subject. The scores from AP tests can help students be more competitive for four-year college admissions and could help students earn college credit. A very small number of our students choose to take the ACT. Students sometimes score differently on the SAT and ACT tests, and there are some things that differentiate these tests. The SAT tests reading, writing, and math. You can register to take an additional SAT on a Saturday morning, available about once per month. The test takes about 3 hours. You can get a reading and writing score and a math score. The ACT test takes a similar amount of time and tests English, math, and science, and the questions tend to be more straightforward. Now I will turn it over to Libby, who will tell us more about applying.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Libby Heselton, and I'm one of the school counselors, and I work at Deering High School. Students usually apply to 3 to 10 schools, including at least one REACH, one Good Fit, and one safety school. Safety, Good Fit, and REACH schools are different for every student based on grades and test scores. The application for admission will ask questions about the student and their family, courses they are taking, activities and sports they've participated in, both in and out of school, and awards they've won. In many cases, students will also have to complete a personal essay of no more than 650 words, and sometimes additional short essays or questions. There is also usually an application fee ranging from about $20 to $70 per school, though some schools do not charge a fee, and students can be eligible for fee waivers. Your school counselor will send the students' transcripts, will fill out school reports, and will write and send letters of recommendation. Students usually also need to ask one to 3 teachers for letters of recommendation, which the teachers will send directly to the college. Many schools require test scores as well, though there are a growing number of schools that do not require test scores for admission. School guidance counselors and the Make It Happen staff support students with all of these steps for the application. To apply to a 4-year school, you will need 4 accounts. You will create a username and password for each one. The 4 websites are Naviance, the Common App, College Board, and FAFSA. The colleges you are interested in applying to should be listed on each one of these websites. Let's first talk about Naviance. Students use Naviance early in high school for learning more about themselves, possible careers, and colleges. In your junior year, students start college searches and input colleges they are thinking about into Naviance. In senior year, students use Naviance to let their high schools know where they are applying, to request letters of recommendation, and to do related surveys. Now let's talk about the Common App, or the Common Application. The Common App is an online application that many U.S. colleges will accept. Students can fill out one application, add multiple colleges to their online list, and then send it to the colleges on that list. Not all colleges accept the Common App, so students will need to check to see if their colleges accept it or if they apply online. The third website is the College Board. This is where students can research colleges and create lists of schools they are interested in. Students will also go to this site to sign up for additional SAT tests beyond what's taken in April of their junior year, and to send their test scores directly to the colleges they are applying to. Some schools require families to fill out an additional financial aid form called the CSS profile. The CSS profile is accessed through the student's College Board account. The last website I'll talk about is the FAFSA, or the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. In October of their senior year or later, students will fill out the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, or the FAFSA, which is an online form filled out and signed by the student and the parent or guardian, which includes family income and asset questions. Students also input their college list on the FAFSA. There are FAFSA completion nights in October at Deering and Portland High that any local senior and family can attend. There is help at all of the high schools through the guidance offices and through Make It Happen. The Finance Authority of Maine, or FAME, staff are also available and super helpful. An important note about financial aid. Even if your student has completed the FAFSA and shows need, many colleges do not meet the full financial need of students. This is why we strongly suggest that students apply to financial aid safety colleges, which are colleges that are cheaper and more likely to meet their financial aid need. Now let's talk about college visits. It's very, very helpful for students to visit at least one college. Ideally, students will visit colleges to help them decide where to apply. But that's not always possible. Seeing one college is far better than seeing no colleges. Colleges offer official tours and information sessions. Sign up for a tour and information session on the college's website. Go to the college's website, find the admissions page, and look for the word visit. Then select the date and time for your visit. It's best to sign up for a tour, which usually takes an hour, and an information session, also usually takes about an hour. You'll not have time to visit more than 2 colleges in a day. Some colleges allow you to sign up for an interview while you're on campus. This is another opportunity for you to tell the college about your strengths and to learn more about the college. But most colleges don't require interviews. And usually an interview will only help a student. However, if you do sign up for an interview, make sure to talk to your school counselor so she or he can help you prepare. Now let's talk about college application deadlines. Colleges offer a variety of deadlines. Early decision is only for a tiny percentage of students who are completely ready to commit to only one of their favorite competitive college. If accepted to this early decision college, the student is required to go there. Demonstrated need, according to the FAFSA, is generally met by these colleges. Early action means that the students apply early and find out about acceptance early, but are not committed to having to attend there. Regular decision deadlines are generally in January, February, and March. Most students will want to complete these applications prior to winter break. Rolling admissions means that a student can apply anytime and can usually find out about a month later. However, popular majors are sometimes full early in the year. A word about financial aid deadlines. As I said earlier, the FAFSA is available starting October 1st for the year before you want to go to school. It requires the students' and parents' tax information from the previous year. The best way to qualify for the most money is to apply early. Be aware of the deadlines, which vary by school, and be sure to submit the FAFSA and any other required information on time. It is always free to apply to the FAFSA. It must be filled out each year the student is applying for financial aid to college. Some more selective schools also require the CSS profile, which asks for more information about the family's financial situation. The CSS profile is accessed through the student's College Board login. Schools set their own deadlines for the CSS profile. You can find the deadlines on each school's financial aid website. There is a fee for filing the CSS profile. Those students have or who are eligible for a fee waiver for the SAT can apply it to the CSS profile as well. Often colleges will send 2 letters, one that says if you're accepted or not, and one that says how much it will cost to attend. If you are accepted, the college will ask you to sign into their portal, read everything they send, and reply to their requests promptly. They will ask you to commit to college by May 1st by sending a deposit. Only commit to one college. This deposit, usually $500, will be deducted from your tuition. After you send the deposit, they will want you to complete surveys about your choice of roommate, your meal plan, health insurance, and course signups and orientation. And that's really exciting.
Next, we'll talk about financial aid. My name is Johanna Burden, and I am one of the Portland High School school counselors. So financial aid is made up of three major parts. The grants and scholarships, which are free money given to a student based on either the family's need or on merit. Loans, which are usually from the federal government, which must be paid back starting 6 months after the student stops attending college. And third, work study, which is money offered to students to earn money at a college campus job. Together, these three types of aid make up a student's financial aid package. The package is most often accessed online by the student with their username and password they were given by the college at the time either of application to the college or at the time of acceptance to the college. The most important thing you can do to maximize your aid is to identify and meet the school's financial aid requirements and deadlines. After students apply, they should check their college portals regularly, as schools will often indicate missing or additional needs there. They are often emailing those to students at their private or personal emails or at the college email. Financial aid can be confusing, and the process can be a little bit different at each college, so don't hesitate to ask for help or ask questions if you need to. Your school counselor can help, Make It Happen staff can help, and Finance Authority of Maine staff can help. The Finance Authority of Maine is a great resource. You can use their website or email them or call. You can also call or email the financial aid department at the colleges or universities your student has applied to. Those financial aid people also want to help you. So there are many scholarships students can apply for by looking on Naviance and at the College Board. We would say to never pay any fees to apply for scholarships. There are ways to reduce the cost of college, like living at home instead of in a dormitory, or attending an out-of-state college for reduced tuition if a Maine public college does not offer that's the major that your student is interested in. Taking early college courses can reduce the number of courses students need for college graduation, which also saves money, and can help orient students to college life. Maine's community colleges are great institutions and money savers for all. We especially strongly recommend that students who are asylum seekers or undocumented to make sure to have Southern Maine Community College or the University of Southern Maine on their college lists, as these are the most affordable colleges, usually for everyone. Unless a student has most excellent grades and has a shot at one of those elite colleges that will meet 100% of need. So you will hear counselors talking a lot about SMCC and USM, and they are great institutions, but please know that counselors will support applications to anywhere the student wants to apply. We just may ask them to also add in a Maine community college or a four-year public college. Let's see. So post-secondary options. There are many options for students other than college right after graduation. Some students choose to work full-time or part-time while they are attending training programs, including apprenticeships, volunteering, or taking college, or just taking a few college classes or adult education classes. Students who are interested in a trade, such as construction, welding, cosmetology, can be prepared for a career by entering a trade or technical school, or in some cases through apprenticeship. Some community or technical schools offer non-degree programs to prepare students for careers in the fields of welding, electricity, building trades, health sciences, or truck driving. And sometimes those programs might be as short as a few months to 6 months. Some students may choose to enter the military and start the process by talking to a recruiter about the requirements and benefits. And most often, recruiters are meeting with students right at school. Some students choose to take a year off before starting college, often referred to as a gap year. Students who choose to do this are best off when they are doing some kind of learning or service during that gap year. College courses, volunteer projects, travel programs, and internships are some of the many options available. If a student is planning to do a gap year, it's a good idea to apply for college during senior year and then defer or hold their admission to the following year. Next, we'd love to open it up to questions, and we would love to have families put questions in the, we have a Q&A, Ms. Clancy?
We have a Q&A, and if you'd also like, people can raise their hand if you want to offer that option as well.
Yes, you can put something in the Q&A or raise your hand, and one of us will be happy to answer.
I know one of the interpreters asked earlier this evening, they had heard a rumor that potentially community colleges will be free for the next upcoming graduating class. Do you have any information on that?
We have the same information that you do about free community college for all. And it's our understanding that it's still in the proposal stage from the governor, but I believe I can speak for all four counselors in saying we would be very excited and happy if that were the case. Or when it becomes the case. Hopefully it will become the case.
I know you also, having been a mom who has a student going to college next year and one already been there, one of the things I didn't realize early on was that you have to do the FAFSA every year. It's not a one-time thing, like before they get to college. And is there a certain time frame you need to do it by?
Thanks for asking. Usually students apply for the FAFSA in October or November of each year. They're going to be in college the following year. So in the fall, they'll do it again for the next year. So if they go to 4 years of college, they'll fill out the FAFSA 4 times.
Do you have some questions in the Q&A? The first one is, will the students hear this presentation at school? And we know teenagers aren't always excited to sit with their families to hear these types of presentations. So what are the schools, in what way will students hear this at school?
So I think it's slightly different at each school. So at Portland High, we are coming through to classes every year for pieces of this college and financial aid or future planning and financial aid process. And we are especially spending more time with our juniors and seniors to make sure they understand this information. But I'd love to volley an answer to Casco Bay and Libby to explain how they do it.
Cool. Yeah, at Casco Bay High School, students are, I think for the juniors, they are getting ready to launch some SAT prep and begin the college process. So that will be happening after the February break at Casco Bay High School. And always our doors are open for anyone who would like to begin speaking about the process. Before that, we often have families, students and parents coming in and begin answering those questions in student-led conferences, as well as individually. And I'll pass it to Libby to speak about Deering.
So Deering uses our advisory time to do general overview of the college process. And then we meet individually. I'm sure all of the counselors meet individually with all of our students at least once in the junior year and with a formal junior interview. And then on follow-ups at the student's request. And then at least once in a formal senior interview with follow-ups. We also do workshops where we say, this is when we're going to work on the college essay, and another workshop when we're working on the Common App. We expect that students are going to have a lot of questions. And we have found that the best practice is to take them one step at a time.
Can I add one more thing? We said it in the presentation, but I do have a high school student, and I know very well that high school students are not always excited to invite their parents to school. But I just want to say again that we welcome you at school to talk with us about this future planning process. We welcome you to meet with us with just parents or with parents and the student. But we are happy to answer your questions and talk over your students' plans whenever you'd like.
Another question, and I'll take this one, is, are colleges allowing on-site visits? Two things. Many colleges are now having students on campus, but of course we see that change college to college, and depending on how things are in the country with COVID. If a college that you're interested in is not allowing an on-site visit, most colleges have some kind of online visit or tour. So there are often ways to see colleges that aren't allowing students on campus, or maybe that are too far away for you to get to see and visit. Another question for counselors is, do many students take the ACT as well as the SAT? And when is it appropriate to take the ACT?
I'll speak perhaps on behalf of all three schools, but feel free to jump in, Portland and Deering. We always have a couple kids take the ACT, maybe 5 or 6, but very, very few at Casco Bay. And the timing is kind of in a similar time frame to the SAT. And you can find that information on the ACT website. I don't know if Portland, Deering, you would like to chime in with your seniors and your experience.
I think it's similar for us at Portland High, that it's just a handful of students a year that are taking the ACT, especially since probably 5 years ago now, the ACT and the SAT tests became more similar to each other. So the need or interest in taking the ACT, I think, has kind of waned given that, but we will support and help students who are interested.
Same is true at Deering.
Another question we have is, how does a high schooler apply for the family income portions on financial aid forms if they live in separate homes? For example, a divorce situation is the residential family income or the biological parent's income?
Great question. I love financial aid, so I'm going to go for this and then feel free to add in. For a divorced family situation, they ask that you use the family income of the family that provides more than half the support for the student, which is pretty confusing, but that's what they ask you to do. Who is the family that provides more than half the support for the student? And then that family, which may include one parent or one parent and a step parent, would fill out the FAFSA. For students using colleges that look at the CSS profile, the family that's providing more than half the support would fill out the profile, and then there is a non-custodial family statement in which the other family also shares their income information. So again, at sort of state universities and state community colleges, it will just be the family that provides more than half the support. It's usually the family that a student lives with, but again, that may be different depending on family situation. And so the state colleges and universities will not look at the other family's income, but many of the private colleges will look at both families' incomes.
And I would just add, if you have specific questions about your financial situation, the Finance Authority of Maine, which is FAME, is an organization that you can call and ask your specific questions to, and they work with Maine families, and their job is to, help our families understand the financial aid process and support you with questions that you might have. So if you feel like your situation is complicated for any reason, please do not hesitate to reach out to them as well. They're a great resource.
Kind of jumping around a little bit, but there's also a question that asks if there are strategies to fill out the FAFSA. Should parents or students take a workshop? I think you started to give some advice there. And certainly you will hear from the schools and from counselors, especially in the fall, about times and places you can get additional help, both online or in person, as much as that is allowed.
And you can always go to the FAFSA website to see what type of information they will be asking for. So if you are someone who likes to prepare, you can actually go and see what documents you will need to fill out the FAFSA. So when it becomes time, you feel ready to do that.
There's a question in there that I'll try to field about a counselor preferring to work with a student rather than with the parent. And it sounds like a difficult situation, and I can't begin to guess what the scenario is. But I would say that the purpose of this meeting tonight is to inform parents about the process, because we feel strongly that parents understanding the process will help the student to make better choices, to meet deadlines better, and to just have a better experience with this very challenging process. We would, by and large, we do work primarily with students because they are with us every day. We have access to students. And I think that it's more likely that we would like more input and collaboration with parents than less. We do try very hard to help students be independent meet deadlines, to make to attend appointments that are made. Those kinds of independence building experiences will help them to be more independent at college. We know they'll be more successful at college if they are more independent and learn to be more independent in high school. So that's part of our goal for each student. But at no time does that mean that we don't invite parents in or want parents to be part of this important process.
Yeah, I just say I believe to a counselor, and I could be wrong, that we do want students to take responsibility, but we would welcome your questions and your input and your collaboration. And if there's a specific issue, you could try to let the specific department know, and I would try directly with the counselor and then see where you get.
Thank you. Another question that we have is, how many or what percentage of Portland kids stay in Maine for college? It's a great question.
It is a great question.
Does anyone have a percentage in mind? Or I will say, while we're thinking about our numbers, that I have seen more students stay local in the past couple of years. Of course, in part due to COVID. But also I've seen more students be more cost conscious and think about the price. And that has driven more students, I think, to stay local as well.
I'll say too that we are so lucky in Maine, and particularly in Portland, to have access to these fantastic institutions. The state of Maine's community college system and state college system is made up of some of the best educators, really fine institutions, and they have been very generous with our students with regard to financial aid, including the early college opportunities, but that many students take advantage of. A student in high school can take free college classes. So it's very generous. We're very lucky in Maine. But I will say too, if you're looking for a percentage, I think it's probably maybe 20% of our students go outside the state. 25? No, maybe it's probably about 20% of the students go out of state. What do you guys think?
Ooh, I don't know for sure. I'd say for Portland High, we're probably a little higher. What do you think, Ms. Medeiros? 35 or 40% out of state for us, I think?
Yeah, I think a little less than half for us. Yeah. Casco.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if I've looked at that recently. If I had to guess, I would say we're maybe at like a 50-50 split. And I would agree with Lori that in the past couple years, we've seen more students attend college and university in Maine.
And then from local to international, we have a question. How much does the process of applying change if you are thinking about going to a different country?
Yeah, it's, I would say that process can be really complicated. And if you have a student who's thinking about going to school outside of the United States, just to see their school counselor, and we can help guide them with that process. It's not, we're not discouraging it, but each university in each country is vastly different. So there's no real concrete answer that we can give. But we work with students all the time who are applying to colleges and universities outside of the United States. And we're very knowledgeable, but it really is individual to the university and what the process is. So please come and see us, and we will help guide you as best as we can.
Yeah, and I would add the earlier the better. Sometimes there are certain class requirements or other things a student might want to be thinking about earlier than the fall of their senior year. So, yeah.
And from a strict sticker price, like what the actual, what they say the price is, oftentimes those international colleges will have lower prices than colleges in the United States for what it costs in general, but don't necessarily carry as much financial aid, sort of the payoff.
There are no other questions in the question and answer box right now.
One more.
Oh, one more came up. Ah, thank you. Is sophomore year good to start talking to the guidance counselors about college?
Most definitely.
Never too early. It helps us to get to know your student better too. So anytime that you come in and you want to talk about something with us, it's an opportunity for us to get to know each other. And the more we know each other, the more helpful we can be.
I may have missed it before. I know there was a question about FAFSA. Did we mention that we always do a FAFSA night in the fall?
We did, but I think it's worth saying again. Yeah, we have at least, I think usually two, one at Portland, one at Deering, but they're open to students from all schools. You can go to either of those. And they have been virtual the past year, 2 years. But there are people who will sit with families and help them step by step fill out the FAFSA right there, which is a wonderful opportunity for families.
I'll just say there's a lot of information which we just presented. So don't feel like you need to remember all the details. If you take just a couple things from this session, that's awesome. And file away those questions, and please reach out to us via email, or if you want to come in and meet with any of us. We have all been doing this work for a very, very long time, collectively. And, I can speak on behalf of Portland and Deering. We are dedicated to each and every student having a plan before they graduate from high school. And we understand that each student's plan will be different. And for some students, that will mean college. For others, it will mean continuing to improve English language skills. And our goal is to meet students where they are and to help them make a plan that puts them one step closer to their goals and their aspirations. And we have no agendas in what we would like to see. We just want to support families and students with what they feel is the best next step for students.
I think we'll hold here. We're going to end our presentation.
Thank you all.